Pumpkin bread is one of the best things to make during fall, and this is my favorite recipe.
Today I'm going to be using a stand mixer, but you can definitely do this by hand as well. We're going to start off by combining the dry ingredients. We got 2 cups of all-purpose flour, followed by half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a half teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of ground cloves, a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and finally a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Mix all of these until they're well combined. Put your whisk attachment on your stand mixer or use a regular whisk if you're doing this by hand. And then we're going to set this aside and work on our wet ingredients. We're going to add this in later, so just make sure to keep it on hand. Don't mix in the wet ingredients quite yet. For our wet ingredients, we're doing 1.5 sticks of unsalted butter, followed by 2 whole cups of sugar. And make sure you don't skimp on the sugar. This may seem like a lot, but it really isn't. We're going to mix this on medium speed until it's well combined and it's kind of that craggly, creamy consistency that you get when you mix butter and sugar. If you've baked before, you definitely know what this looks like. After that's done, it's time to add in 2 whole eggs. I cracked my eggs in advance and put them in a separate bowl, but you don't have to do this. This is just for demonstration purposes. You're going to mix this for about 1 to 2 minutes on medium speed or until it gets this nice creamy and silky consistency. Once you're done with that, you're ready to add in your pumpkin. This is 1 small can or 15 ounces of pure pumpkin puree. Make sure you do not use pumpkin pie mix. That would completely mess up the recipe. So make sure it's 100% pure pumpkin. We're going to mix this on medium speed for about 2 to 3 minutes or until everything's combined. It should have this curdled texture to it that's completely normal, so don't worry. Once that's all mixed up, we're ready to add back in our dry ingredients and mix for an additional 2 to 3 minutes on medium speed as well. Once your batter is nice and combined, we can remove it from the stand mixer and get our bread tins ready. So this recipe actually makes 2 loaves of pumpkin bread, so I have 2 pans here. We're going to start off by dusting our tins, and then we're going to use a spatula to scrape our batter into our tins. Make sure you get an even amount on each one just so it doesn't overflow, and you can spread it nice and thin to smooth it out like I did here, but it's optional. But what you do want to do is tap the pan on a cutting board or something so that it gets all the air bubbles out and evens it out. Once you're done with this, we're ready to pop it into an oven at 325 degrees for about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. I would say it just depends on the oven, so make sure to watch it. You could use the toothpick method to help see when you're done. Just stick a toothpick in after about 55 minutes of cooking. If it comes out clean, you're done. Once your bread is done baking, you can pull it out and set it aside. You need to let it rest and cool off for about 30 minutes at least. This is so it stays together when you're slicing it. If you do not let it rest, it's just going to fall apart. Trust me guys, I have learned from experience, this is the most important step after you've baked the bread. So make sure to let it rest. I know you're going to be impatient and hungry and it smells great, but you got to let it rest. Now with that said, after it has cooled, you're ready to flip it over, give it a few pats, and it should come out perfectly. This is the easiest way to get it out of the bread tin. You could use a butter knife around the edges if you'd like, just to help it get out, but it's not even necessary. Once you've removed your bread from the tin, you can slice it up in however big pieces you'd like. But just look at this, guys. It came out amazing. I cannot wait to taste it.
And there you have it. Some homemade pumpkin bread. Really easy to make, guys. All you gotta do is wait for it to bake, pretty much. Let it cool off, and then enjoy. I'm gonna try some out with a little bit of butter. That's how I like my pumpkin bread, but you do you. Got a little bit of salted butter on there. There you go. Let's dig in. Wow, that's really good, guys. You gotta make this dish for your upcoming Halloween and Thanksgiving parties. I hope you guys try it out. Peace.